On my wedding night with my husband Cole Ye's widowed sister-in-law Aryashan accidentally sprained her ankle, so Cole Ye left me, his new wife, to take care of Aryashan all night. The next morning, Cole Ye even boldly planned to use all the bridesmaids' dowry to buy ribs to nourish the weak Aryashan. However, when Cole Ye opened my dowry box, he found that there was nothing inside. Everything is because I was reborn. I know my husband Cole Ye loves Aryashan in his heart. He married me just to deceive others. In the previous life, they treated me as an old servant. I took care of Cole Ye's sick parents at home, while Cole Ye took Aryashan along to enjoy the blessings. In this life, I won't be wholehearted with Cole Ye. I won't work tirelessly for him and Aryashan. Since Cole Ye's thoughts are all about Aryashan, then he should find a way to take care of her himself. In this life, I want to walk a path where neither Cole Ye nor Aryashan drink blood. I didn't expect that Cole Ye and Aryashan would also be reborn together. When Aryashan asked her son Yi Debao to knock on the door, Cole Ye was just about to consummate our marriage. Yi Debao pounded on the door loudly. Second uncle, my mom fell down the stairs, she's covered in blood. Cole Ye didn't even have time to put on his clothes before rushing out. The me who was reborn sat blankly on the bed, looking around. I never expected to die and be reborn. Returning to my wedding night with Cole Ye, in a past life, I fell in love at first sight with the tall, handsome Cole Ye, and I would marry no one but Cole Ye. In the end, after persistent pleading, I finally married Cole Ye. When Cole Ye married me, he made 3 rules. Besides his sickly and weak parents, there is a widowed sister-in-law and a minor nephew in his family. Besides respecting his parents, I married him to help take care of his widowed sister-in-law and nephew. I love Cole Ye to death and I agreed without any hesitation. Cole Ye's younger sister Aryashan, delicate and fragile, would fall over at the slightest breeze, and when doing chores, she would pretend to be sick. Cole Ye's parents are also tuberculosis patients, taking medicine all year round and unable to work. So all the heavy and tiring chores of the family are handled by me alone. When we just got married, I used the meat tickets, grain tickets, cloth tickets, and more than 100 yuan that my parents painstakingly saved up to support this family. But my dowry is just a drop in the bucket for this family, which is an endless pit. I endured cold and hunger to ensure that Cole Ye's parents and Aryashan's mother and son had good food and clothing. I had to muster up the courage to go back to my parents' home to beg for food and drink, just to make sure they wouldn't say anything bad about me in front of Cole Ye. Cole Ye's parents and Aryashan's mother and son lived a life of luxury, well-fed and well-nourished, and I was emaciated and malnourished, fainting from low blood sugar due to endless work. Even after getting pregnant, I carried a big belly and had no day off to rest, because I was at home as a good wife. Cole Ye could work at the army with peace of mind. He was promoted for meritorious service in just 1 year. The first thing Cole Ye did after his promotion was to bring Aryashan and her son to join the military to take care of them. As for me, my wife, I continued to stay at home to take care of her ailing parents. By the time Cole Ye's parents passed away one after another, I was already over 50 years old and suffering from various illnesses. After handling Cole Ye's parents' funeral affairs, I planned to pack up and go to find Cole Ye, who had already risen to a high position, to enjoy my old age. I always thought that what awaited me in the future would be a return to sweetness after bitterness, but I didn't expect that when I was preparing to meet Cole Ye, Aryashan and her son Yi Debao came to talk to me first. Aryashan, whom I haven't seen in years, is no longer the Aryashan of the past. She now looks like a noble lady. She looked down at me condescendingly and said, "Nina Chin, now that your in-laws are gone, what are your plans?" "Of course, I will go find Cole Ye, looking for Cole." "Just look at yourself now. Do you think it's appropriate for you to go looking for Cole?" Aryashan sneered, then dropped a bombshell. "I might as well tell you, all these years it's been me who's been with Cole, and everyone outside thinks I'm Mrs. Cole." "What did you say? You and Cole Ye?" I couldn't believe my eyes. Looking at the pampered Aryashan, "Since it's come to this, I won't hide it from you anymore. Cole and I were once lovers, but by a twist of fate, I ended up marrying his brother. Cole has always been thinking of me, but because he was afraid of the rumors outside, he married you as a shield." Aryashan showed me her daily life outside with Cole Ye. They drink tea and chat together, watch movies together, watching Kolyi buy a gift for Aryashan for her birthday. Seeing their smiling and affectionate gaze in the photo, combined with Kolyi's cold attitude towards me, I finally understand. No wonder Kolyi has been cold to me ever since we got married. No wonder Aryashan pushed me into the river, causing me to lose my child. Kolyi shows no remorse at all. No wonder Kolyi always visits Aryashan first when he comes back to visit family. And no wonder most of his salary is given to Aryashan and her child. He exhausts himself for Aryashan and Deboyi. But he has never had even a trace of me in his heart. He just treats me as a front, as a nanny, as a servant to be commanded. Knowing the truth, I couldn't bear to spit out a mouthful of blood and collapse. I didn't expect to have a chance to start over, since heaven has given me this opportunity. In this life, I will not be anyone's servant or nanny. I want to leave Kolyi and walk my own path. Kolyi seemed to be called out by Yi Debo just like in the previous life and never came back. In the previous life, not only did he not return on the wedding night, but during the entire honeymoon period. Kolyi was busy taking care of Aryashan. He cared for Aryashan with great attention and personally watched over her. So much so that even after the honeymoon ended, he didn't have time to consummate the marriage with me, his wife. To this day, I am still a maiden after marrying Kolyi for 2 years. Over the past 2 years, Kolyi hasn't come back to visit family, but every time he wants to be intimate with me, Aryashan always causes a big fuss, either falling ill or her son getting sick. Whenever Aryashan makes a scene, Kolyi would leave me and go take care of Aryashan and her son. In my previous life, I was so naive that I couldn't see through the vulgarity of these two. Although I think Kolyi's concern for Aryashan is a bit excessive, I consider that Aryashan, a widow with a son, is not easy to deal with. He also treats helping Aryashan and her son as a sign of his conscience and responsibility. In the end, I finally managed to be with Kolyi and got pregnant, but Aryashan pushed me into the river. I had a miscarriage and lost the baby. While Aryashan was extremely frightened and fell ill, Kolyi got the news back and just hurriedly glanced at me, his wife, before rushing to comfort and take care of Aryashan, who was frightened and bedridden. If it weren't for Aryashan telling me the truth in advance when I was about to go to Kolyi, I would have been foolishly kept in the dark for a lifetime, believing they were good people. Nina Chin from the previous life was deceived for over 40 years, but this life's Nina Chin knows the truth in advance and won't be making clothes for others anymore, since I know what's coming next. I'll just have some fun with this pair of scoundrels. I'll just see if Aryashan and her son will be well fed and clothed without my hard work and dedication. Will Kolyi have a smooth path to success in his career? I blew out the newlywed red candles, lay down in my clothes, and slowly drifted into sleep while thinking. I was woken up by the sound of the door being pushed open in the morning, and when I opened my eyes, I saw Kolyi striding in. He looked at me lying on the bed, frowned slightly, then strode straight to my dowry chest. Without saying a word, he opened my dowry chest and started rummaging inside. After a few minutes, Kolyi turned my dowry chest upside down but couldn't find what he wanted. Kolyi stopped searching, looked unhappy, and asked me, where did the meat tickets, cloth tickets, grain tickets, and money in the box go? In a past life, I married Kolyi to support his impoverished family. I begged my parents to give me all the valuable items in the house as dowry. I brought the ration tickets for grains, meat, and cloth, as well as money, to the Yi family. I happily showed Kolyi my dowry, reassuring him that I would take good care of his family. After Kolyi took care of Aryashan for a night in a past life, he returned the next morning and directly opened my dowry chest, took out all the meat tickets inside to exchange for ribs, and brought them back to Aryashan to replenish her health. In this life, I definitely won't be a fool and develop blindly. Last night I already transferred my valuable dowry elsewhere. Facing Kolyi's questioning, I coldly replied, "Did you put your meat tickets in my dowry chest? I didn't know about this." A look of shame and annoyance flashed across Kolyi's face. "It's not my meat tickets, it's your dowry meat tickets. Why should I give you my dowry bride price? The day after our wedding, you're already thinking about my dowry. Don't you think you're being too much?" Kolyi looked at me in astonishment. What do you mean? Didn't you promise to take care of my family when we got married?" I was out of my mind before, I replied expressionlessly. Now that I'm sane, I regret it, Kolyi. I don't want to marry you anymore, let's divorce while we still haven't consummated the marriage. Kolyi suddenly widened his eyes when I told him I couldn't go on and that I wanted a divorce. Nina Chin, are you crazy? How dare you even say something like divorce? It's not surprising that Kolyi was shocked, he knows very well how much I adore him. Kolyi thought I was angry because he was neglecting me on our wedding nights by not coming home. Surprisingly, I explained for the first time. Last night was an emergency. I didn't intentionally leave you alone. At that time, my sister-in-law was unconscious, and I took her to the hospital and took care of her there all night. After explaining that I stayed out all night, Kolyi immediately started speaking in a preachy tone and said to me, speaking of which, you and I are already married and are husband and wife. I told you long ago that I married you to take care of my sister-in-law in Daba. Last night, my sister-in-law had an accident, and you didn't ask or care, and you could still sleep peacefully. That's really unreasonable. In my previous life, I naively thought that Aryashan's fall and my busy efforts to help Kolyi were out of extreme concern. Later I found out that Aryashan wasn't actually injured. She just wanted to ruin my wedding night with Kolyi and put on an act. Kolyi, because he loved Aryashan, panicked and believed her, while I, knowing the truth, saw no reason to pay for this shameless woman's fake illness. I chuckled. Your sister-in-law fell at such a convenient time, not falling earlier or later, but right on our wedding night. Kolyi frowned. What do you mean? It's not that interesting, just that this coincidence seems a bit too convenient. Kolyi, seeing that my words were sharp, softened his tone. Nina, I saw that your sister-in-law was injured and weak, so I thought of using your money to buy some spare ribs to nourish her body. Now that I've explained it to you, you should go and buy the ribs yourself. I won't be home often in the future, so you need to get along well with your sister-in-law. I was wondering why Kolyi suddenly changed. Turns out he was waiting here to give me a slap and then a sweet treat. Kolyi's words made me can't help but laugh. He looked at me inexplicably. What are you laughing at? I suppressed my laughter and looked at Kolyi carefully. Just take care of your own sister-in-law. There's no need to drag me into it. Aren't we husband and wife? You promised me when we got married. I directly interrupted Kolyi. It was my oversight before. I didn't think enough. I didn't realize you care so much about your sister-in-law. Our family situation is really beyond my ability to handle your wife's position. Let's part ways amicably. I will pack my things and go back to my parents' house later. I insisted on divorcing Kolyi, which took him by surprise. He looked at me repeatedly, then finally stormed off in anger. Kolyi didn't take my dowry to buy ribs for Aryashan like he did in the previous life. Aryashan, unable to enjoy the fragrant ribs, actually came to find me voluntarily. I was packing my things and getting ready to leave when Aryashan arrived. Aryashan stormed in aggressively, and I turned around to look at her when I heard the noise. The leg isn't crippled, and she's in good shape, just like a normal person. I showed a sarcastic smile, as Aryashan slammed the door shut with a bang, and angrily shouted at me, Nina Chin, what do you mean? Why are you causing trouble and divorcing Cole? I warn you, the Yi family is not someone you can handle easily. You better stop while you're ahead, or it might get out of control. A deep resentment surged in my heart, stemming from being exploited and deliberately provoked to death by Aryashan in my past life. I stared at this disgusting woman in front of me, word by word. My divorce from Kolyi has nothing to do with you. Who do you think you are to boss me around? Get lost from wherever you came from. Aryashan didn't expect me to retort her like that, and her expression became even uglier. Sharp and shrill. You were the one insisting on marrying our Cole, and now it's only the second day after the wedding, and you're already talking about divorce and leaving. Do you have any shame? Speaking of shamelessness, you say you're second, but no one dares to say you're first. Didn't you injure your leg? I see your leg is fine, not a single problem at all. Seeing me staring at her leg, Aryashan's expression stiffened. She was only trying to come and cause trouble for me. Completely forgetting to pretend, I didn't give her a chance to breathe, and I continued to sneer. You do nothing but engage in crooked and evil deeds every day, still pretending to be injured and wanting to eat meat. If you want to eat, go earn it yourself. You're so shameless about my meat tickets. You're the most shameless thing I've ever seen, not even worthy of being called a person. Aryashan's face was pale, and all her hidden thoughts were exposed to me, since it was already like this. Aryashan no longer pretended. She looked at me fiercely. You promised to marry Cole and take care of our family. Since that's the case, you must keep your promise. Isn't it unreasonable for me to use your flesh ticket because I am physically weak? Goodness, what a reasonable thing, I sneered. When I promised to marry Cole Yi, I didn't know that Cole Yi was so attentive to you, sister-in-law. If I had known that Cole Yi was so dedicated and even left me on our wedding night to take care of you, I would have been foolish to want to marry him. Not to mention me, there's probably no one in this world foolish enough to get involved in your mess. Right, in order to marry Cole Yi and to be accepted by Cole Yi's family, I did my best to please them. I used to be very cautious around Aryashan, afraid she would be unhappy and speak ill of me in front of Cole Yi. Now, I speak to Aryashan completely without courtesy, speaking harshly and with a hidden agenda. Aryashan finds it hard to imagine. You, Nina Chin, are you crazy? I nodded. Just pretend I'm crazy. Anyway, from now on, I want to divorce Cole Yi. I won't get involved in your family's mess. After I finished speaking, I took down the wedding photo with Cole Yi, cut off Cole Yi's side with scissors, and threw it into the trash can. Aryashan's actions clearly show that she is not joking at all. The arrogance on her face has disappeared. She asked me somewhat incredulously, "Are you really going to divorce Cole?" Of course. If your eyes aren't blind, you can see that I'm packing my things, right? Seeing that I mercilessly handled the wedding photos with Cole Yi, I continued packing my things methodically. Aryashan finally believed that I wasn't just throwing a tantrum but really was leaving. Her expression changed unpredictably, and after a long while, she spoke reluctantly again. I can explain about last night. I didn't mean to disturb your wedding night. I just accidentally fell and got knocked out. Your affairs have nothing to do with me. Don't explain to me. I don't want to hear it. I interrupted Aryashan and continued to pack my things. Seeing that I ignored her, Aryashan finally couldn't take it anymore. She glared at me with venom and said bitterly, "Nina Chin, do you think I'm willing to come and explain to you? If it weren't for Cole begging me, I wouldn't bother coming to you. Let me tell you, that's enough. Don't end up unable to save face." So it was Cole Yi who asked Aryashan to come and explain to me. This is quite unusual. After all, Cole Yi had always stood firmly behind Aryashan in his previous life. Even when Aryashan pushed me down and caused the death of our child, he didn't blame Aryashan at all. Now, for the first time ever, he's actually having Aryashan come to explain to me. Isn't this like the sun rising in the west? I don't believe Cole Yi really wants to keep me. Cole Yi must be afraid that if I leave, he won't find another fool like me to exploit. Cole Yi clearly knows that besides me, there is no other fool willing to work hard and tirelessly to help their family. That's why I took a step back. No matter what Cole Yi thinks, it has nothing to do with me. I just want to pack my things and leave now. I worked as a servant for the Yi family all my life in my past life. I never showed any filial piety to my parents. My top priority in this life is to honor my parents. I finished packing up and was about to leave with my belongings when I was stopped by Cole Yi, who hurriedly rushed over at the door. "Nina Chin, what's going on with you? I already apologized and even asked the eldest sister-in-law to explain to you. Why are you still acting so willfully and causing trouble?" After Cole Yi finished speaking, he suddenly saw a torn photo of him in his military uniform in the trash can. His face changed drastically. You tore up our wedding photo." He rushed over in 2 or 3 steps to pick up the torn photo, and I saw that his hand was actually trembling. This is really a once-in-a-lifetime sight. Does he care about our photo together? How is that possible? These photos were taken by me persuading and dragging him to do so. He was frowning all the time back then, looking very impatient. By the way, I was the one who paid for the photos. Thinking of these, I sneered, "What does it have to do with you that I tore up the photos I paid for?" Cole Yi looked as if I had provoked him, suddenly turning around with reddened eyes and glaring at me fiercely, with a very stern voice. "Nina Chin, do you dare to step out of this door and try?" I was already planning to leave. Could it be that his threats would make me stay? I grabbed my bag and strode out. Just as I reached the door, 1 foot crossed the threshold. Cole Yi grabbed my arm, pulling me back forcefully. I am very angry to be confined like this by Cole Yi. Let me go home." This is your home, Nina Chin. I tell you, you are now my wife, Cole Yee's wife. Our marriage is not a joke, it's a military marriage, protected by law. Without my consent, you can't go anywhere. Cole Yee refuses to divorce and won't let me go. We are in a military marriage. Cole Yee refuses to divorce. So I really can't leave without permission. I was forced to stay behind, feeling frustrated and unable to vent. It's very uncomfortable. You're not letting me go, are you? Then I'll just give up. I want to see if I do nothing, ignore everything, Cole Yee will still keep me as this ornament. Once I made up my mind, I stopped causing trouble, completely ignoring Cole Yee's family. Not Cole Yee, nor would I flatter and please Arya Shin and her son. I won't be an old servant. So the household affairs naturally fall on Arya Shin. Arya Shin is deliberately limping while cooking, doing laundry, and working in the fields. Arya Shin is busy rushing around tirelessly. While I sit on the side cracking sunflower seeds and watching the show, I know she's performing, trying to make Cole Yee feel tender-hearted. This was her favorite thing to do in her past life. When Cole Yee came back to visit, Arya Shin was busy rushing around, pretending that she was the one supporting this home. When Cole Yee leaves, she immediately pretends to be sick and can't get out of bed, pushing all the chores onto me. I have to say, Arya Shin definitely has a talent for acting. I was completely fooled by her in my past life. If she likes to perform in this life, let her do it. Anyway, it has nothing to do with me. As expected, Arya Shin's performance was effective. Cole Yee's mother accused me of being lazy and good for nothing, and defended Arya Shin. I turned a deaf ear and continued watching the show. Then Arya Shin suddenly fainted again while fetching water. The Yee family was in chaos. Cole Yee saw his beloved suffering so much and was unhappy, and even came to scold me again at night. Nina, isn't it too much for you to do nothing like this? The eldest sister-in-law is still injured. I impatiently asked Cole Yee, if I don't marry you, won't your family eat? Don't wash clothes or do chores. Cole Yee was speechless after being asked by me. I sneered, I only married in for a couple of days, and your eldest sister-in-law keeps fainting and having accidents. Is she Lindayu? Is she that delicate? Cole Yee was stunned for a moment before saying, it's just a coincidence. My eldest sister-in-law works hard to manage this household. She's too exhausted. So what does that have to do with me? She's managing her own affairs. Cooking is for her son and herself. Washing clothes is for her son and herself. Working and earning money to support herself and her children. Isn't that only natural? Cole Yee stared at me with wide eyes in disbelief. Nina, you clearly are not this kind of mean and unreasonable person. You are clearly so caring. Yeah, I really am not that kind of person. I also want to be a caring and kind person. But what's the use? What has my bad temper gotten me? Just ending up being so angry that I die. Cole Yee, I won't live a good life with you. You don't need to use military marriage to suppress me. It's better for everyone to part on good terms. Anyway, I'll say this up front. I won't be a servant to your family. Cole Yee's hand was actually trembling. Why, Nina? Why exactly? It's nothing special. Just consider me, Nina Chin, as someone who is two-faced. Cole Yee grabbed my hand, and he looked at me with his beautiful eyes, gentle and affectionate voice. Nina, you're not that kind of person. I know you're not like that. I know you're kind-hearted. I know you're hardworking and patient. Nina, I swear I will make your life better. Do you believe me? Haha. I sneered, who doesn't know how to make empty promises. However, Cole Yee was too lazy to talk to me in the last life. So he naturally wouldn't make big promises to me. It was as if he had become a different person in this life. He actually said such heartfelt words to me. As if I was so important to him. But I know he's lying. I know he doesn't love me at all. The person he loves is Arya Shin. The reason he pretends to be so affectionate is just to deceive me into willingly risking my life and paying the price for him. I ruthlessly reached out my hand. Cole Yee, nothing you say will do. I'll say it up front. I won't help you take care of your delicate sister-in-law and your adorable nephew, and I'm not interested in working for your family. We're divorcing and parting ways. You can find the next sucker. Anyway, it's impossible to rely on me. A hurt expression flashed across Cole Yee's face. I don't know what he's upset about. After a moment of silence, Cole Yee once again pulled me back, and also pulled me into his arms. Nina, last night was my fault. I owe you a wedding night. I'll make it up to you tonight. Nina, Let's consummate tonight. Right now, let's consummate, Kolyi said as he picked me up horizontally. And I was startled by his action, struggling desperately. What are you doing? Let me go, Kolyi. Are you crazy? Kolyi is very strong, and my struggles have no effect on him at all. Soon, I was placed on the bed by Kolyi, and he leaned down to kiss me. This is something that has never happened in 2 lifetimes. Although I was with Kolyi in my past life, he seemed to be going through the motions. No tenderness or cherishing, no foreplay at all. He actually came to kiss me this lifetime. Has he lost his mind? I pushed Kolyi's face away with my hand, shouting, "Let go of me, Kolyi. I don't want to do that kind of thing with you." Kolyi couldn't see my anger and rejection. He continued to push forward regardless, his voice full of coaxing and patience. "Nina, I will take good care of you. Don't be afraid, we're going to have a child tonight, and I will take good care of you and the baby in the future." I struggled to resist, but it had no deterrent or influence on Kolyi. He disregarded my resistance and tore off my coat. I bit, struggled, and cursed, but it couldn't shake Kolyi at all. Just when I was desperate, Darba's pitiful crying came from outside. Second uncle, come quickly, my mom, she had an accident." Hearing Darba's wailing, I seemed to see hope. "Kolyi, go and see your sister-in-law quickly." Kolyi stubbornly pounced on me. "Don't look, tonight even the King of Heaven can't stop me and you from being together." Is Kolyi crazy? Clearly. In the last life, whenever Arya Shin had a small issue, he would be extremely distressed. I can't think of a reason for Kolyi's sudden change, and I don't want to be with him. "Kolyi, have you forgotten your big brother? You promised to take care of your sister-in-law on behalf of your big brother. You can't be ungrateful." While I was saying these words, Da Bao's crying outside grew more and more heartbreaking. He was banging on the door. "Second uncle, my mom, she really had an accident. This time it's true, not pretending. She bled a lot." "Second uncle, help." Amid Da Bao's desperate cries for help, Kolyi's parents were also awakened. The neighbors on both sides were also alarmed. Kolyi couldn't continue anymore, so he had to let go of me. He dressed neatly and went out to see what was going on. I also quickly put on my clothes and went out to join the fun. At the gate of my yard with Kolyi, Arya Shin was lying on the ground at the entrance, motionless. With a face full of blood, Dabo was crying miserably on the side. Mom, wake up." I looked at the shiny, slippery road beneath Arya Shin's feet, a smile appearing on my face. "Serves you right." Arya Shin fell hard, bleeding from her head and unconscious, and was taken to the hospital. When I was sent to the hospital, Kolyi still wanted me to go with him. I firmly refused, watching the neighbors and friends disappear with Kolyi. I took another look at the frozen hard ground at the door and yawned as I went back to my room, locked the door. I lay on the bed and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Arya Shin can be said to have reaped what she sowed tonight, but she also can't escape my scheme. I know Arya Shin will come to eavesdrop and will try every means to call Kolyi away. The hatred from the past life isn't so easily dissipated. I hate these 2 scoundrels to death, so before going to sleep, I deliberately poured a few pots of water at the door. This is the coldest part of winter, water turns to ice. And after pouring a few buckets of water, the road becomes very slippery. Arya Shin is determined to stop me and Kolyi from being together. So she doesn't have the time or energy to pay attention to the uneven road, so she fell into my trap. I deliberately did this to punish Arya Shin. I knew she would get hurt and bleed, and I knew she would call Kolyi away. I was waiting to see a good show. The only thing I didn't plan for was Kolyi forcing himself on me. Speaking of which, I owe my safety to Arya Shin. Otherwise, tonight could have ended disastrously. I slept soundly that night, without any burdens. Kolyi returned in the morning, with a look of exhaustion. Nina, sister-in-law, was badly injured. Her head was cut open quite badly, stitched up 15 times, and her nasal bone was also broken. I listened to Kolyi speak and felt very pleased inside, but I didn't show it on my face. That's really unfortunate. So sad. She was just minding her own business at home. Why did she come to our gate? If I remember correctly, she had already fallen around 10 o'clock, right? If so, isn't it strange to be out for a walk at this time instead of resting? Kolyi's expression was not very good, and after a moment of silence, he said, Nina, Let's not discuss what she's here for first. The hospital just notified me that I need to pay, but I don't have much money. Can you lend me some? Sure, I replied happily, clearly seeing the surprise on Cole Yee's face. But I quickly added, I have a request, lend me some money, and you and I will get a divorce immediately. Cole Yee looked very unhappy after I finished speaking. I won't divorce you, Nina, don't even think about divorce, then I'm helpless, I shrugged. Cole Yee silently looked at me for a while, then left without saying a word. Cole Yee refused to divorce me and had to borrow money from all over to pay for Arya Shin's surgery. The already difficult family life became even harder because Arya Shin was hospitalized. 3 meals a day of porridge with salted vegetables. Life is exceptionally hard. Cole Yee's mother, who had not spoken all along, couldn't hold back and came to talk to me. Nina, with the current situation at home, you've seen it too, a family doesn't speak 2 different languages. You can't just stand by and watch, you have to think of a way to solve the problem. Daben hasn't had dried food for 2 days, only drinking porridge. This isn't good for his health, is it? I understood clearly what Cole Yee's mother meant. The old lady cares about her beloved grandson. And she's also worried about the things I brought as a dowry. In my previous life, Cole Yee's mother saw all my hardships. The old lady peacefully enjoys my service, never saying a word to me. She only cares about her beloved son, her eldest daughter-in-law Arya Shin, and her precious grandson Yi Dabao. She knows I work hard to manage this family, she knows my fatigue, but when Cole Yee visits relatives, she never mentions my hardships, instead always thinking of Arya Shin and Yi Dabao. She tries every means to squeeze me and drain all my dowries to support their family. I am so obedient, so honest, so hardworking and self-sacrificing. Yet she didn't say a single good word about me. She thinks I deserve it. I am justified in being a beast of burden for them all my life. Who asked me to like her son and be so humble? I married Cole Yee 2 years ago, and I am still a maiden with no children. The old lady keeps saying I can't have children whenever she talks to people. The child I finally conceived was pushed down and miscarried by Arya Shin. The old lady scolded and blamed me all at once. People say I have bad luck. I can't even keep my own child. She worked day and night, resenting me, forcing me to have a miscarriage, and I had to work, leaving me with postpartum illness. In my past life, I was foolish and sacrificed my entire life for an illusory love. I deserve it, but I have already died once. Why am I still willing to work hard and be a fool in this life? I looked at Cole Yee's mother with a forced smile but a grim face. What solution do you have? Everyone in the family is dead. Do I, someone who knows nothing, need to step in and figure something out? Cole Yee's mother looked very displeased after I retorted. Nina Chin, I am your mother-in-law, the elder, how can you? A junior, speak to me in such a tone. My divorce from your son has nothing to do with you. Don't come here and act like a mother-in-law, if you feel wronged. Go find your son and ask him to divorce me immediately. The old lady's heartless and ungrateful nature made me not want to bother arguing with her. She trembled with anger. It was you who wanted to marry in the first place. Now you're making a fuss about divorce. What does that mean? I was crazy back then. But now I'm cured. To be clear, I won't give a single cent to the Yi family, nor will I clean up your mess. If you have something to discuss, go to your eldest daughter-in-law or your son Cole Yee. Don't come to me, an outsider. Seeing that I wouldn't listen, the old lady was at a loss, and surprisingly, she discussed with me, Nina, don't make trouble, let's think of a solution carefully. How about this, you take out the money and use it for a while. Once Arya Shin's health improves, I will let her leave the Yi family and get married. I was stunned. What do you mean? Arya is still young. And her elder brother has been gone for so many years, so we can't just trap her. Cole and I talked about finding someone for her to meet once she recovers, to find a man she can rely on. Marrying Arya Shin off is something that never happened in her previous life. I was shocked and instinctively asked, what about Dabao? What will happen to him? Dabao is the blood of the Yi family. Of course, he will stay in the Yi family. Dabao will be raised by you and Cole. He will be adopted by you as your child. I was shocked by what the old lady said. Speaking of which, in my past life I was also wholeheartedly devoted to Yi Dabao, loving him as if he were my own child. But what did he do to me later, helping his mother Arya Shin and Cole Yi secretly plot against me? Cole Yi and Arya Shun have been involved 10 times, 9 of which were facilitated by Yi Daba. When I was about to go find Cole Yi, Yi Daba had already been married with children. He and Arya Shun went to the countryside to stop me from going to find Cole Yi, embarrassing me. When I was so angry I coughed up blood and collapsed. I was actually still alive. It was Yi Daba's malicious suffocation that suffocated me to death. Who would I raise to kill the person who harmed me? Isn't that the biggest joke of all? I looked into the old lady's expectant eyes and firmly refused. I don't have the habit of raising others' children. You find someone else to be the scapegoat. My rejection of the old lady's proposal made her very angry, and she glared at me fiercely. Nina Chin, what else do you want? We've already made such concessions, and you're still pushing your luck. I'll tell you. If it weren't for Cole doing this, I wouldn't send Arya away even if I died. She is a member of my Yi family in life, and a ghost of my Yi family in death. Was Arya Shun's marriage actually Cole Yi's idea? Why does Cole Yi treat the woman he likes this way? Has he been hypnotized? Or is there some unspeakable reason behind this? I can't figure it out no matter how much I think about it, and I secretly became cautious. Anyway, I will not continue the path of my past life. I have decided to divorce Cole Yi. I didn't pay attention to Cole Yi's mother, but instead took the time to go back to my parents' house. Seeing my parents again felt like a different world. I cried for a long time holding my parents. My parents also couldn't bear to part with me and asked about my married life. I didn't hide anything. I told my parents everything about the mess in the Yi family. My parents were firmly against me marrying Cole Yi before. They always thought it was unreliable for me to marry Cole Yi. Although Cole Yi had already been promoted to battalion commander in the army, but his family was too poor. With sick parents, a widowed sister-in-law, and a nephew, basically a family of bloodsuckers, my parents didn't want me to suffer by marrying into such a family, but I was determined to marry no one but Cole Yi, even threatening to commit suicide. My parents couldn't bear to see me go, so I had no choice but to agree, and they used all the money they had saved through hard work to give me as a dowry. They didn't expect that I would regret it just 2 or 3 days after getting married. I also didn't hide from my own parents, Mom and Dad. I regret it. I don't want to marry Cole Yi and serve his whole family anymore. I want a divorce. My parents were startled and very surprised. Divorce isn't a small matter in this era. Nina, have you made up your mind? This is something that will make people stab you in the back. I've made up my mind. I nodded firmly. After the divorce, I don't plan to stay here. I will go south to find work. Once I settle down, I will come back to take care of you both. My parents are hesitating. They haven't agreed to my divorce. They just said they would think about it carefully. I didn't expect Cole Yi to come to my house to pick me up. Shouldn't Cole Yi be guarding Arya Shun closely in the hospital, since he treasures her so much? Why did he suddenly come to my house? Cole Yi never came to my house in my previous life. He never came when we were poor, and even less so when we were successful. I'm very unhappy that Cole Yi showed up at this time, calling my parents Mom and Dad one after another. His attitude was too humble, and compared to the cold, dead face of his previous life, it was like he was a completely different person. My parents were naturally kind-hearted people, and seeing Cole Yi willing to lower his head, they didn't give him a hard time. In the end, I had to leave with Cole Yi. I was extremely unhappy and had absolutely no good expression for Cole Yi. I kept a straight face and stayed 10 jong away from Cole Yi on the way back. Cole Yi kept looking back at me as he walked. He is much more patient than before and talked to me. I didn't want to answer a single word and ignored what he said. Cole Yi sighed. Nina, what's really wrong with you? Cole Yi, I regret marrying you. I don't want to be with you anymore. Can you let me go? If you do, I'll give you my dowry tickets and grain coupons, and the dowry money as well. Let's get a divorce right now. Cole Yi stared blankly at Nina Chin. This is the 3rd time since they got married that Nina Chin has asked for a divorce. He always thought Nina Chin was angry and sulking because he left her on their wedding night. But now, looking at Nina Chin's indifferent face, her unwavering expression, and hearing her conditions for divorce, Cole Yi then confirmed that Nina Chin wasn't just throwing a tantrum, she truly wanted to divorce him. Why? Clearly, in her previous life, Nina Chin wasn't like this. She happily married him and devoted her sincere love to him. She has always been so generous, never arguing with her words, as if she has no temper and never quarreled with herself, nor with her family. Why does Nina Chin seem to have changed completely when he is reborn in this life? Cole Yi recalls the scene of himself seeing Nina Chin for the last time in his previous life. He had just been promoted to a new position at that time when he received the devastating news of Nina Chin's passing. He couldn't believe he hurried back to his hometown without stopping. Nina Chin was lying in the coffin without anger. Arya Shen and Yi Debao said that Nina Chin was exhausted and injured her body, and suddenly passed away due to illness. He held Nina Chin's old, uninjured, calloused hand. A surge of pain and sorrow welled up in my heart. Cole Yi clearly knew that it was Nina Chin who had made him who he was. She tirelessly took care of her parents, being his strong support, allowing him to focus on his work and missions, which led to his current success. Cole Yi had never thought that Nina Chin would leave like this. He had thought about making it up to Nina Chin, living together in harmony, and allowing her to enjoy her later years in peace. Why didn't heaven give him a chance? Cole Yi is filled with regret and pain. He is crying at Nina Chin's funeral. He wishes that heaven would give him another chance, and he would treat Nina Chin well, make sure she lives a good life, and never let her suffer like this. Cole Yi has been reborn, back to the time when he married Nina Chin. He was happy that he could make up for Nina Chin again. But Nina Chin was no longer the same as in the previous life. In the previous life, Nina Chin was wholeheartedly determined to marry him. In this life, Nina Chin just wants to leave. Why would the same person make different choices? Is it because his rebirth caused everything to change? Cole Yi firmly disagrees with Nina Chin getting a divorce. He came back to life to make up for Nina Chin and let her live a good life. How could he possibly let go of Nina Chin? I really can't understand why Cole Yi would disagree with the divorce. He has no feelings for me. Marrying him was just my persistent effort. Now that I have withdrawn, shouldn't he be very happy? Why do you want to hold me back? Why is this happening? I couldn't figure it out no matter how hard I thought. So I went back to Cole Yi's house and pushed open the door to our wedding room. I found the house in chaos. My belongings were all rummaged through and thrown on the floor. There's a thief in the house. I silently watched the mess on the ground. While Cole Yi was busy tidying up, there is a courtyard wall at home. It can't be an outsider. It can only be an insider. Cole Yi's parents and nephew Yi Debao also heard the noise and came to see what was going on. I stood at the door with my arms crossed, glanced over Cole Yi's parents and Yi Debao, then sneered and reminded Cole Yi, "Call the police." Cole Yi hadn't spoken yet, when his mother spoke first. "Why call the police? Didn't you lose anything?" I squinted my eyes. "How do you know nothing was lost? All my dowry is in the house." "You're lying, there's obviously nothing." Yi Debao glared at me angrily. I sneered, "How do you know? Could it be that the thief is you?" Yi Debao's face turned red with embarrassment. The child couldn't sit still and shouted at me, "You vicious woman, you deliberately made my mom fall and get injured, and you're holding on to the money but refusing to give us any. What exactly are you up to?" I looked at Yi Debao, whose face was flushed with anger. "Why should I let you use my things? Who do you think you are? You married my second uncle just to serve our family. If you're not going to give money or do any work, then get out. Our family doesn't want you here." I smiled warmly at Cole Yi, who had a grim expression on his face. "Shut up, is that what you should be saying? Why can't I say anything? My grandparents say that this woman is married to come and cling to our family, working as a servant. My mother said that when she married in, we would have meat to eat, new clothes to wear, and wouldn't have to work, but she's been married for a few days, and I haven't seen anything. We eat porridge every meal. This woman is just a liar. Let her get lost. So your grandparents and your mother treat me like a servant and a fool. Thanks for the reminder." I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Cole Yi's face turned pale, and he angrily stared at his parents. You really are something." Cole Yi's parents hurriedly dragged Yi Debao away in embarrassment. And I looked at Cole Yi with my arms crossed, "Open the skylight and speak frankly. I won't work like a horse for your family. If you still have time, get a divorce and find someone else to be the scapegoat. Let's part ways amicably." "I won't divorce. Nina, my parents are confused. Don't argue with them. I swear I will treat you well." "How can you treat me well? The little money you have is for supporting your parents and your eldest sister-in-law and nephew, which probably isn't enough. If that's the case, Why are you bragging and boasting to me? Cole Yi was silent for a while before saying, Nina, my parents are in poor health. I have no choice. Supporting the elderly is a moral obligation. I can't abandon my parents, but I can ignore my eldest sister-in-law. I will split the family assets with them. That comment made me raise an eyebrow. It's really not easy to say something like that. But does Cole Yi really not care about Arya Shin? Impossible. He's lying. He still wants to keep me steady. The next morning, Yi Debao came to see me. This wolf cub looked at me with hatred in his eyes. Nina Chin, my mom asked you to go to the hospital. Does Arya Shin want to see me? Why should I go see her? I refused to go to the hospital to see Arya Shin. And Yi Debao left angrily. Just a few hours later, he came to find me again, saying that Arya Shin had something very important to tell me. Arya Shin has been hospitalized for several days and has not been discharged yet. I know she fell hard that night, but it shouldn't be to the point of staying in the hospital without being discharged, right? After all, the Yi family is currently in a situation where they can't afford to let her lounge in the hospital and indulge. I want to see what Arya Shin is up to, so I went to the hospital. I pushed open the door and saw a woman lying on the hospital bed who was so ugly that she was disgusting because she had no nasal bridge. Did I walk into the wrong door? The woman without a nasal bridge spoke. Nina Chin, come in. I never expected Arya Shin to turn out like this. I closed the door in Schadenfreude and went in. What do you want to tell me? Arya Shin looked at me resentfully. Are you very proud to see me like this? How could that be? I'm very sorry that you've become like this. I hope you get better soon. While I was saying that I hope Arya Shin gets better soon, I was actually feeling very happy inside. Karma. Ha ha ha. It's all karma. I was so arrogant in my previous life that it killed me, and now the wheel of fortune has turned, and it's Arya Shin's turn. It's no wonder Arya Shin feels terrible after being disfigured into an ugly monster. I'm curious, what must Cole Yi be feeling seeing Arya Shin like this? Weren't they madly in love? Would Cole Yi still want Arya Shin after she's been disfigured? Arya Shin's venomous gaze locked onto me. Nina Chin, it's all your fault I ended up like this. That night, you deliberately spilled water outside, didn't you? You knew I would come, and your goal was to kill me, wasn't it? Arya Shin was surprisingly able to guess that I was the mastermind behind it. Now that it has come to this, I definitely won't admit that I did this. What are you talking about? I can't understand a single word. You're pretending, you wicked woman. Your heart is so vicious. Arya Shin pointed at me with her finger, and if she could get up, I wouldn't doubt that she would bite me. I took a few steps back and then heard Arya Shin hoarsely ask, Nina Chin, you're back too, right? Arya Shin's words startled me. How does she know I came back in this lifetime? Could it be that she's also back? I can't tell if Arya Shin is really back or just fooling me. I immediately denied innocently. What are you talking about? I don't understand a single word. You're still pretending to be stupid. Nina Chin, you've changed so much from before. Before, you shamelessly fawned over Cole Yi, treating him like a god. But now you're like a different person. You're actually going to divorce Cole Yi. Don't think I don't know. You're back. I'll tell you this. I'm back too. The ward was empty, and Arya Shin spoke without restraint, glaring at me with venom. I know you hate us for deceiving you in the previous life, hiding it from you with Cole Yi. I admit it was our fault in the previous life. We were wrong and we wronged you. Since we've all been given a second chance in this life, let's go back to the beginning. Step aside and let me and Cole be together. Arya Shin spoke with certainty, determined to have Cole Yi. I can be completely sure that she also reincarnated with me. Arya Shin, who is starting over, has a much bigger appetite than in her previous life. She is going to be legitimately with Cole Yi. Their passionate lovers love each other like this. I have no reason to refuse. I sneered. How do you want me to help you? Aren't you causing trouble to divorce Cole? Then just go ahead and divorce him happily. But it's not as simple as you said. I want to divorce Cole Yi. And he doesn't agree either, right? Cole wouldn't agree. He's just trying to keep you stable. After all, in the previous life, you were so obedient, working tirelessly for this family. Cole just doesn't want to lose you, his free nanny and servant. I've always been puzzled as to why Cole Yi refuses to divorce. Arya Shin's words finally cleared up my doubts. So you really just wanted to keep using me? Arya Shin looked at me and listened, then continued, Cole doesn't like you at all. The person he likes has always been me. We both came from the previous life, in our past life. Cole always protected me. Even when I pushed you to make you lose the child, Cole never resented me at all. Honestly, you didn't have a child later on because that was Cole's decision. Aryashan took a breath. Cole doesn't want you to give birth to his child. So he secretly had me take medicine that prevents pregnancy. I know Cole Yi and Aryashan are not good people, but I never expected them to be so heartless and crazy. My fingernails dug deeply into my palm as I looked at Aryashan without any expression. So you've said all this just to tell me how much Cole Yi loves you. I have no interest in your love story. I remind you, if you're so eager to be with Cole Yi, persuade him to divorce me. I'm waiting for your good news. As I turned to leave, Aryashan stopped me. Cole's status is different now. He can't easily divorce you. So, Aryashan's voice lowered. So there's only one way, Nina Chin. Find a man and let Cole see you together. That way you can divorce Cole legitimately. I am looking at a shameless woman on the bed to the extreme. She has such beautiful thoughts. They humiliated me in my past life, and now they are still scheming against me in this life. I can divorce Cole Yi amicably on the grounds of incompatibility, but if I find another man, it would be considered breaking military marriage. Aryashan's heart is not just ordinary maliciousness. She thinks I am a fool. And she wants to put me to death. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I won't look for a man because I'm not like your disgusting kind of thing. So your advice is invalid. But I paused for a moment before slowly saying, since you are so eager to marry Cole Yi, why not be straightforward and make a good match with him? That way, you can achieve your heart's desire. Impossible. This is a stain. I won't allow a stain on Cole, as it would affect his promotion. So she knew this was a stain. That's why the dirty water has to be borne by me, while these two dogs, should remain pure and clean. But on what grounds? Why should I indulge them? I sneered and left Aryashan's ward, and when I stepped out of the hospital, I ran into Cole Yi, who was visiting Aryashan. He saw me quicken my pace. Nina, what are you here for? Your sister-in-law said she wanted to talk to me. Cole Yi's face changed instantly upon hearing this. He grabbed my hand. What did she say to you? You should ask her about that. I sneered, shook off Cole Yi's hand, and walked away briskly. Cole Yi watched Nina Chin's disgusted expression as she shook off his hand and left, feeling empty inside. He doesn't know what Aryashan said to Nina Chin that caused Nina Chin to have this attitude. In a past life, after Nina Chin was gone, Aryashan once mentioned wanting to live with him, but he was sternly rejected. Aryashan also planned to adopt his son Yi Debao as his own, but he also refused. Thinking about the heartfelt things Aryashan did for himself after Nina Chin's death, Cole Yi felt inexplicably uncomfortable inside, and he strode into Aryashan's hospital room. Seeing Cole Yi come in, Aryashan's face flashed with surprise. Cole, you're here. Cole Yi looked at Aryashan with no particular expression. Big sister-in-law, you're recovering well, right? If you're feeling fine, you should be discharged. Aryashan pouted in a coquettish tone. My head still hurts now. And the injury on my nose hasn't healed yet. You can't stay in the hospital forever, right? Go back and recover from your injury. Aryashan looked at Cole Yi's cold face, feeling extremely wronged inside. Clearly, in the last life, Cole Yi was very caring towards her, and he would agree to anything she asked for. Why does Cole Yi seem like a different person when he starts over? He is unwilling to fulfill his promise to take care of himself, and he actually wants to make himself get married. How could Aryashan possibly get married? She had been thinking about Cole Yi all her life in her past life. Knowing that Cole Yi would become successful and have an unlimited future, how could she possibly give up on Cole Yi in this life? After realizing she had been reborn, her first thought was to seize Cole Yi. She must find a way to marry Cole Yi and become his legitimate wife. Make Cole Yi her man. Aryashan was thinking to herself when she heard Cole Yi ask her, sister-in-law, did my mom tell you? What did she say? Aryashan asked back, are you talking about remarrying? Cole Yi's tone was very calm. You're still young, and you can't be a widow for your older brother forever. I was thinking that once you're recovered, you should find someone you know well to marry. Aryashan was stunned. I won't marry anyone. I won't remarry. Older sister-in-law, have you thought it through? If you don't marry, living alone will be very difficult for you. Isn't this because of you? Aryashan blurted out. Kolyi shook his head. I can support you, but I can't support you for a lifetime. I'm just your brother-in-law, with no responsibility or obligation to take care of you for a lifetime. So your best way out is to find someone to marry. Kolyi's words made Aryashan panic. During her hospital stay these days, she was still dreaming of following Kolyi, who would become successful in the future, to enjoy a luxurious life. How did such a thing happen all of a sudden? Aryashan doesn't believe that Kolyi's words are sincere. It must not be true, Aryashan was thinking to herself. When Kolyi added another sentence, if you don't want to get married, you can also stay with your eldest brother, it's up to you. I will just arrange for you to be separated and take Daba to live alone. Aryashan was stunned, staring at Kolyi. Are you going to split the family with me? Are you joking? Kolyi looked indifferent. Answering Aryashan with determination. Yes, we originally belonged to two families. Isn't splitting the family a matter of course? Kolyi was still hesitating before, but after experiencing what happened last night, his hesitation was completely gone. He didn't expect that his parents would actually be like this. Yi de Baobao is a child under 10 years old. What does he know? It's no wonder he could say such things to treat Nina Chin as a servant. It was the result of his parents and Aryashan repeatedly instructing him. His parents and Aryashan truly treat Nina Chin as a servant to be commanded. They are thinking about Nina Chin's dowry, and they have not shown a shred of sincerity towards Nina Chin. Kolyi thought of Nina Chin, who had endured hardship and taken care of her parents in the countryside in the previous life. He had considered bringing Nina Chin to his side, but his parents always opposed it, saying they couldn't be separated from Nina Chin. He saw Nina Chin working tirelessly and personally for his parents, thinking that his parents and Nina Chin got along well and were reluctant to part with her. But I didn't expect there to be another possibility. My own parents just want to boss Nina Chin around. Want to squeeze every last bit out of Nina Chin. But that's not the case with Aryashan. They have been talking about how difficult Aryashan is in front of me, about how Aryashan has been carrying the burden of Yi de Bao, about the suffering of their deceased eldest son, in the previous life. At the request of his parents, he took Aryashan and Yi de Bao, leaving Nina Chin behind. Kolyi had actually known from a young age that his parents were biased. They had always been biased towards his deceased older brother, because his brother was good at studies. His brother got into university, while he was just average in academics, though physically strong. From a young age to adulthood, he was always the one being ordered around, bearing the burden without any resistance. His own brother was gone, and only then did his parents turn their attention to him. He feels sorry that his parents lost their child. He is their only son, and he wants to fulfill his filial duties as a son, but his parents don't seem to think so. His parents have no feelings for him or his wife. They have always favored only the deceased eldest brother, including his wife and children. Kolyi felt cold inside and was very uncomfortable, knowing what kind of faces his parents have, and after understanding Aryashan's thoughts, he would never indulge them again. This family is decided. Aryashan is at the hospital on the second day. She covered her face with a headscarf and went straight to Kolyi's mother's room after returning. I don't know what they said behind closed doors. Over the next 2 days, Kolyi's parents were surprisingly nice to me, including Aryashan and Yi de Bao. They were also very kind to me. When something is abnormal, there must be a demon. I know too well what these people in front of me are. On the evening of the third day, after dinner, Yi de Bao took the initiative to wash the dishes. While Kolyi's mother wanted to take me out, she said that she had spoken with Aunt Chen from the East End, and that she would go to Aunt Chen's house in the evening because there was something to discuss. Aunt Chen has a son over 40 years old who is lame. Before this, Aunt Chen and Kolyi's mother had no close contact. Thinking of what Aryashan at the hospital had told me, I understood it clearly in my heart. She directly refused. I don't feel well, you go by yourself. I'm not very comfortable going alone, accompany me. Kolyi's mother insisted. I'm really not feeling well, why don't you let Aryashan go with you? Aryashan immediately refused. I have something at home and can't get away. My younger sister can go with mom instead. Kolyi had been silent all along, and when I refused, he suddenly interrupted. You go with my mom, I'll come to pick you up then. I took a look at Kolyi, and if Kolyi is saying such things, does that mean he's already in agreement with his mom and Aryashan? So tonight, are they determined to put me to death? If that's the case, then I want to see who will end up dead. I went to my room to tidy up and then left with Cole Yee's mother. When I was leaving, I looked back and saw Arya Shin's face showing an unhidden cold smile. I followed Cole Yee's mother to Aunt Chen's house. Aunt Chen warmly came out to greet us, asked if we had eaten, and also prepared tea and fried rice for us. In this impoverished era, fried rice is a rare delicacy. I sneered at the cold glance exchanged between Aunt Chen and Cole Yee's mother. They are so enthusiastic that I can't refuse their kindness, so I took the carefully prepared fried rice. I blew on the bowl for a while, then finished the fried rice under the watchful eyes of Cole Yee's mother and Aunt Chen. As I put down the empty bowl, I saw the triumphant smiles on Cole Yee's mother and Aunt Chen's faces. I staggered and fell down. As I was falling, I saw Aunt Chen's lame son drooling as he came in. That night, the long silent small mountain village was bustling with activity. The woman's screams and crying were deafening, startling all the neighbors around. Everyone ran to Aunt Chen's house in response to the noise. A dense crowd filled a courtyard. The main room of Aunt Chen's house was burning with warm, cozy firewood. People rushing into the house could clearly see Aunt Chen's crippled son, who was naked, riding on a woman's back. Everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. Those who reacted quickly rushed in to separate them. It was only then that I realized the woman being bullied by Aunt Chen's lame son was Arya Shin. Arya Shin was completely naked, and she was still unconscious. Someone covered Arya Shin with a piece of clothing and hurriedly informed Cole Yee's family. I only came out from behind and went in to see the excitement when Cole Yee arrived. Seeing Arya Shin lying on the ground with only a piece of clothing covering her, I was surprised in my heart but showed no expression on my face. It's really strange. I was clearly calling someone, and in this room, lying there were Cole Yee's mother and Aunt Chen's crippled son. So how did it become Arya Shin? I took a glance at Cole Yee, whose face was grim, and he was also looking at me. His gaze was cold and fierce, making me feel a chill all over. There are many uninformed people in the crowd shouting that Chen Danu's son, Chen Dazhuang, committed rape, and they want to send Chen Dazhuang to jail and call the police. Cole Yee ignored the gossip of the crowd. He walked through the crowd, closed the door to Aunt Chen Danu's main room, and separated Arya Shin and the onlookers. This is a misunderstanding. Sorry to disturb everyone. Cole Yee's tone was very calm. My sister-in-law and Dazhuang have already agreed to get married because they are in love. Cole Yee quickly dispersed the crowd with just a few words. I stood there dazed and confused. Clearly not like this. Clearly, the people in the house are Cole Yee's mother and Chen Dazhuang. Why did it turn into Cole Yee's beloved Arya Shin? So Cole Yee said that Chen Dazhuang and Arya Shin are dating and about to get married. What's going on? Clearly. 3 days ago Arya Shin still confidently told me that she wanted to be with Cole Yee. I'm really confused now. Everyone watching the fun has already left. There's no point in staying. I turned to leave, but Cole Yee suddenly grabbed my arm. He gritted his teeth and said, "Good job, Nina Chin. You didn't even give an explanation." Explain what? Didn't you just make everything clear? I didn't expect you to. How did you find out about my mom's conspiracy? Do you know why I didn't tell you? Why I did this to my mom? If I had arrived a moment later, do you know what would have happened? I know, right? I shook off Cole Yee's hand. Is it only allowed for them to scheme against me? And I can't fight back. I'm not. My mom was confused. She was bewitched by Arya Shin. Arya Shin is so shameless. She bewitched my parents and even tried to scheme against me. I went along with it and helped her. Cole Yee said he overheard his parents and Arya Shin plotting behind the back. He knows what they are planning to do, so he knocked out Arya Shin when she was flirting with him and sent her to Aunt Chen's house. He said, "Nina, my parents were wrong. I will make them apologize. I will make Arya Shin leave this home, and you can rest assured in the future." I smiled and shook my head. Your parents are not confused. Arya Shin didn't deceive them. They just simply like Arya Shin, and want you and Arya Shin to grow old together. Cole Yee looked at me intently. You. How did you know? I didn't answer Cole Yee, but instead asked him back, can't you see Arya Shin's feelings for you? No, I and Arya Shin are impossible. I admit I used to like her, but she liked my older brother. Since she married my older brother, I have had no feelings for her. I only took care of her because of my parents' request, just feeling sorry for her as an orphan single mother. Nina, I didn't expect my parents to be so heartless. Cole Yi's parents are indeed terrible. Before this, I always thought that Cole Yi and Arya Shan loved each other deeply. Now, seeing Cole Yi treat Arya Shan like that with my own eyes, I realized that I might have misunderstood Cole Yi. Anyway, this matter has come to an end. I have no interest in Cole Yi's explanation, and I don't care about Arya Shan's outcome. I just told Cole Yi, let's get a divorce. Let's handle the paperwork tomorrow. Cole Yi humbly begged, Nina, I don't want to divorce you, but I want to. I think about staying away from you every moment. Cole Yi, I worked hard for your family in my past life, and this life, just leave me alone. Whether you want to be with Arya Shan or marry another woman, it has nothing to do with me. I only have one wish, to stay away from you. Let's never see each other again. As I finished speaking, Cole Yi took a few steps back. You're back too, I nodded, and Cole Yi stood there in a daze, watching me. Sorry, Nina, I'm very sorry in my past life. I wanted to come back and give you a better life. I truly wanted to change everything from my past life. Seeing Cole Yi's remorseful expression, the hatred in my heart surprisingly disappeared. I shamelessly went back to my parents' house to enjoy the autumn breeze, bringing food and drinks just to prevent them from saying anything bad about me in front of Cole Yi. Actually, it was only when I found out that Cole Yi had sent Arya Shan to bed with Chen Dazhuang that I stopped hating him. Cole Yi is not as despicable as I imagined. Everything was a scheme by Arya Shan and Cole Yi's parents. It's impossible for me and Cole Yi to be together again. After all, the wounds from the past cannot be healed or erased. 3 days later, Cole Yi and I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to handle the divorce procedures. A week later, I left the village with the travel expenses my parents saved up for me. Relying on the memories of my past life, I headed south to start my struggle. The process was bittersweet, filled with tears and laughter. I live for myself, fight for myself, and whatever I give is worth it. Time flies quickly, and effort and reward are in harmony. A decade has passed in a flash, and I have already made a name for myself in the south, owning my own company. I brought my parents to live with me and take care of them, and I met a man who truly loves me. We got married, had children, and I lived a life different from my previous one. I saw Cole Yi again 5 years later. I was attending a conference, and Cole Yi was also a guest. He was pushed into the venue in a wheelchair. He had no feet, and I looked at Cole Yi in shock. Cole Yi and I exchanged glances on stage, looking into each other's eyes, both of us feeling complex emotions. After the meeting ended, Cole Yi shook his wheelchair and walked over to me. Nina, long time no see. I nodded, my gaze falling on his leg. He looked at me very calmly. I lost my leg in an accident while saving someone. You are amazing, I said sincerely. I've earned my whole life, and I can't make it up to you. I just thought about compensating others, so I guess I haven't come here in vain. I nodded, and there was nothing more to say to him. When I was leaving, Cole Yi called out to me. Nina, my parents and Arya Shan have all died. They died the year after you left. I let out a sound, and Cole Yi followed up. After marrying Chen Dazhuang, Arya Shan was unwilling and was bullied and beaten by Chen Dazhuang. She hated my parents so much that she set a fire when she went back. So that's how it is. My condolences. Although I didn't want to say these 2 words, I still said them.